ध्यायेत् शारदचन्द्रसुन्दरमुखम् ताम्रारविन्देक्षणम् भक्ताभीष्टवराभयप्रदकरम् कौपीनमात्रोज्ज्वलम् स्वात्मानन्दरसानुभूतिविवशम् सर्वानवद्याङ्गकम् श्रीमन्तं श्रीरमणेश्वरं गुरुवरम् योगासनाध्यासितं ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहमहमिति साक्षादात्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामच्युताव पवनचलनरोधा आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्। Namo Ramana. As always, the Friday Atma Vichara, we read from the book Ramana Answers Self-Enquiry 1900 to 1950, a compilation of all the answers given by Bhagavan on the subject of Atma Vichara by our founder president Sri A.R. Natarajan From this we will read Bhagavan's Upadesham and then contemplate on it and then have a meditation of the Atma Vichara for 20 minutes. Following that, Akka has been talking on from Ramana Gita on the shloka Hridaya Kuhara Madhye, which basically brings us the same Atma Vichara to us. And after that, we will have the concluding prayers to Bhagavan. We have been looking in the last 3-4 weeks from the answers given by Bhagavan from 1936 to 1950 on the same Atma Vichara. We have come to the third question. The devotee puts the question, which is something that is very common for all the people whom we being the sadhakas who have been doing the Atma Vichara or any sadhana. This question keeps coming to us. It is somewhat saying, are we home yet? Kind of a question. So we'll look at the question and answer by Bhagavan. Devotee, can a man remain in perpetual meditation? The devotee's question is, can a man remain in perpetual meditation? Bhagavan's answer, the phenomena we see are curious and surprising, but the most marvelous thing of it all, we do not realize and that is that one and only one illimitable force is responsible for A, all the phenomena we see, B, the act of our seeing them. Do not fix your attention on all these changing things of life, death, and phenomena. Do not think of even the actual act of seeing them or perceiving them, but only of that which sees all these things. From now onwards, let your whole thought in meditation be not on the act of seeing, nor on what you see, but immovably on that which sees. This is the answer by Bhagavan for the question, can we remain in perpetual meditation at all the time? We'll try to look at the answer in again two portions, this week and the next week. Bhagavan is saying the phenomena we see are curious and surprising, but the most marvelous thing of it all we do not realize, and that is that one and only one illimitable force is responsible for all the phenomena we see and B, the act of seeing them. We will look at this portion. When I read this answer to Bhagavan and started contemplating on it by his grace, the one event that came to my mind, at the outset, I will just say what Bhagavan is trying to say here first. Bhagavan is saying, can a man remain in perpetual meditation is the question. In fact, Bhagavan sees that everybody is always in perpetual meditation. It is just that we are not seeing it, but we are getting carried away by the phenomena. That means we are seeing, we have taken for granted that entity through which we perceive all these phenomena, which is the actual meditation, which is the actual self, but give all reality to this phenomena and get carried away by that phenomena, which is very curious and surprising. So Bhagavan is bringing our attention that our problem is not that we need to strain ourselves to achieve a perpetual meditation. It is just that we should not see these curious and surprising things as real, but see that entity from which we see all these curious and surprising things. If we can only do that, because it is happening naturally, even when we are seeing curious and surprising things, whether it is a thought that we are seeing which is just rising and dancing and going away, or whether events in the life that are coming up, taking the center stage, creating joy or sadness and going away, at all times we are perceiving it through one entity, and that one entity, which is the illimitable force, Bhagavan says, is responsible for even the phenomena and the act of seeing, and it is the one which is seeing also. Bhagavan is saying that if we can just turn our attention away from this phenomena or from this curious entity and see from which we are seeing, if we can simply do that, then we see that naturally the meditation is going on. Naturally the self is there. Without the self, there is nothing possible. And therefore, the self alone is. It is the self alone which is all. That's why Bhagavan is very saying, it is that self, that illimitable force itself is responsible for all the phenomena we see, the act of seeing. So instead of seeing it as an object, instead of seeing it as a process of seeing, if we can see that it is all nothing but the self alone, then we are actually in perpetual meditation. So Bhagwan is bringing this to us. In fact, because it is already naturally happening and it is only the self, it is just our ignorance which is dividing everything as object, subject, and the process of connecting the subject and object and all that ideas which are there, which is making us feel that we are not in meditation. Bhagwan is saying, don't pay attention to it. Rather, fix the attention on the consciousness, which is, or the awareness, which is making it all visible. Then you see that everything is just nothing but consciousness. Anyway, coming back to the event that which Bhagwan brought home to me when I was looking at this, one of my colleague called Darshan, I was talking to him recently, and he mentioned that he met with an accident before he joined us, and for a moment it happened on sometime in the afternoon, and till evening he was not remembering. He was unconscious, and then when he gained consciousness, he could only remember his father, his mother, and his wife, and couldn't remember anything else other than that. Now, it is in a way, he said it was very shocking. I am able to only remember these three people and not so much. I am trying to kind of a state where he is not able to recollect. He was aware. And that awareness, which was there at that moment, which was aware of all the other data missing, was the same awareness which was there when he says that I was in a coma. And it was the same thing which was there before the accident, which had access to all the data and everything. And it is no different for us in the same way as the waking, the dream, and the sleep. So in the dream, we are not aware of so much of the data of the waking. We are so much clear about it, clear about whatever is in the dream. And in the sleep, we are like in the coma. We don't remember anything. And we know that we did not remember. How? Bhagavan says it's only through the awareness. And in the dream, we are aware of a limited thing which is happening. And in that, we have forgotten everything that has happened in the waking. And in the waking, when we wake up to the actual thing, then we think the dream was limited. So in a way, we are never seeing the awareness. And if we had only recognized that we are only the awareness and just remained as that awareness, how beautiful it would have been. We should contemplate on it. If we were always awareness, whether the waking came, whether the dream came, where the limited identity came, we could have seen that we would have not been disturbed at all because nothing changed in us. We were always plain and simple awareness where nothing happened, whether the waking came, the sleep came, and the dream came and went away. It is our strong identity to see everything outside. It is our outward turned attention where we take this awareness that is ourself to be granted, but give absolutely no importance to it, but give a lot of importance to the phenomena this awareness is aware of. And in that phenomena, if something is missing, we are disturbed with that missing. In that phenomena, if something is coming to our liking, we are very happy with it. But none of them to be staying because it's just a temporary phenomena that is happening at this moment in time. Therefore, Bhagavan is saying, and the Shastra says, Dvitiyam bhayam bhavati. Only when we see that when I leave this absolute awareness, and even if I give reality to any phenomena, any outside, even the process of seeing, if I give reality to any of this concept, I am pushing myself into a phenomena where I may end up having fear. Only when we sit down and contemplate on this Bhagavan's answer very clearly, we will realize that letting go that awareness, letting go our natural state of that being consciousness, or taking it for granted and giving lot of reality to the phenomena and the act of seeing as though they are different, not the same awareness, not as the same awareness, as not as the same being, but we think that it is outside, it's an object. Moment we give that, we see we are pushing ourselves to opening up ourselves to a possibility where that phenomena could cause us a lot of disturbance or limit us in one way or the other. So Bhagavan is saying that we should not see the curious and surprising phenomena as they are, but see it only as nothing but being awareness. It's all happening because of the being awareness. It is only the awareness due to which that curious thing is appearing. It is only because of the awareness the surprising thing is appearing. If there is no awareness, where is this curious thing? Where is this surprising thing? Where is this idea of getting limited? Even when we question that and we see and we recognize that it is only nothing but awareness, 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 and therefore remaining as that awareness is the real realization. It is the real recognition of the truth. When we recognize that, then we can see that we are always in meditation, because there is never a time where this awareness goes absent. But as Bhagavan said, where can I go? I am here and now. So we can see that there is only awareness and there is no movement, nothing possible, and there is no birth, no death. And all the birth and death and those phenomena that we are simply thinking was only in that awareness and continues to be on that awareness. When we recognize that, then we recognize that that is the way to be in perpetual meditation. The immense grace of Bhagavan, with which alone we could have come to this direct path, where Bhagavan reveals the natural meditation to all of us and removes the unnatural phenomena, the reality that we give and get ourselves bewildered by that. To that Sadguru who has brought us to this Atma Vichara, let us do Atma Vichara for the next 20 minutes. In Atma Vichara, no matter how many thoughts come which bewilder us, and whatever may be the nature of the thought which makes us limited to that thought, instead of getting carried away by that, if we can only recognize that the thought itself is I am aware because of my own awareness, and therefore question to whom is this thought, and become aware that it is for me, and thereupon who am I, and by putting the question who am I, getting back to that truth that we are, or whatever we say I as, when we inquire what do I refer to as I, or where from this thought I rises within me, turn our attention away from even the I thought and get back to that thing which we call as the I, that I am, that being consciousness. And by repeatedly doing it, Bhagavan assures that the mind will gain enough strength to abide in that truth alone. The immense grace of Bhagavan for the next 15 minutes, for the next 20 minutes, let us do Atma Vichara. Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana. Thank you all. Over to Shardanka.
Namo Ramana. Prostrations to Ramana, shining as the self in all beings. By the immense grace of that self, manifest as Ramana, we have just sat for the practice of self-inquiry. And before that, we have been meditating on Bhagwan's words, where he talks about that on which all the phenomena are dependent. Here, very beautifully also, Dilip described the drama of the events, the drama of the thoughts, which are perceived by us. Now here in this verse in Ramana Gita on which we are meditating, which is Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram Aham Ahamiti Sakshat Atma Rupena Bhati. Ganapati Muni is dwelling on the first half of the verse, and he first assures us that understanding this verse is equivalent to understanding all the Vedas and the Vedanta. The essence of all the Vedas and the Vedanta is included in this one verse. So all we have to do is to do manana on this one verse, and we would have understood the import of all the scriptures by doing manana and by practicing what is laid out in this verse. Then he goes on to say, Atra shloke bhagavata purvadhe sthanamiritam. First, what does Bhagavan do? He has given a location for the self as the heart. The location for the self is given as the heart. Now, the word heart, hridaya, is mentioned even in the Bhagavad Gita, Ahamatma Gudakesha. In that, Sarvabhutashaya, but Hridayam, I am in the Hridayam, Sarvabhuta Hridayam, he says. Of course, in Ahamatma Gudakesha, he says, I am the beginning, middle, and end. But Hridyeshe Arjuna Tishtati, he says. I am sitting in the heart of all being, he says. So the Hridaya is mentioned. Now, Hridaya is mentioned, and it is the self is said to be stationed in the Hridaya, seated in the Hridaya, or visible in the Hridaya, experienced in the Hridaya. In, when we say, it refers to a place. So, Muni says, Atra shloke bhagavata purvardhe, in the beginning, very beginning, sthana miritam, he has given a place. And where is this place? It has to be, Muni has said, Sharire panchabhautike, within the body made of 5 elements. The self is shining within the Panchabhuta Sharira. Now we also saw that the Sharira maybe we may take it to be this body or any kind of a body, any expansive body also. Body means that which has a limitation. And anything which has a limitation, anything which has a form, has to be made of any of the elements, one of the 5 or the mixture of the 5 elements, which are the earth, water, fire, wind, and ether or space. So a combination of these has to be there in any of the elements. Even the sky, which we say is pure ether, it is not pure. What we see is not pure, they say. See, so there are Panchabhuta, there is the Tattvas, and then there is the manifest form of the five elements. Even they are never in their pure form. They will always have a mixture. But only the predominance of one of the five will be there in them. So because there is water in the space, right? When we see the clouds and all that, water is there. There will be a mixture of elements, and there will be some dust and pollution, so which is earth element. And there is a wind. So there are other elements we see even in space. It's a mixture. So there will be a mixture, and it is if you take it that the sky is a body, even that is a mixture of various elements. And if the sky were to feel I am the sky, or if you and I were to feel I am the sky, I am the earth. Mrs. Lucia Osborne has a vision. She has a vision of herself as the Mother Earth. It's an actual experience. She experiences herself as the Mother Earth. Now it is obviously, it must be vast and beautiful and a spiritual experience. Nonetheless, it will be having this fivefold composition of fivefold elements. And where will the self be? Within that. It will be experienced for us within that. Whatever body we believe we are, we experience the self within that, because we have formulated a boundary for ourselves. We experience the self only within that boundary. So Bhagavan says, yes, it is within that. Experience it within that. Once you experienced it within that, as we meditated on Sadhu Om Swami's song also, Ingu Kanda Piragadan Irpadelam Avanmayam, when we actually experience it within, so-called within, then we recognize that there is no limitation, there is no within, there is no without. It is Kevalam Brahma Matram. So first, as the Muni points out, that Bhagavan talks about its location within the body having the five elements in it. So where do we have to search for it? That is the first point. The first point is that we have to search for it within what we perceive to be the body. Whatever we perceive to be the body, within that we have to search for the self or experience the self. Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram. But what is that self? It is Kevalam Brahma Matram. There is only the Brahman. There is nothing whatsoever apart from it. Kevalam. So the Muni says, after saying that the location is pointed out by Bhagavan, he continues to say in the next verse, Tatraiva lakshanam choktam Dvaitamīśā ca varitam Uktam chāpya parokṣatvam Nānā linga nivarhanam. So, having said that it is within the body, then Bhagavan is giving the lakshana of it. What is it? What is the self? This self is Kevalam Brahma Matram. And Muni says that by saying so, Bhagavan establishes that that Ishvara is not apart from the self. Even Ishvara is not apart from the self. Dvaitamīśā ca varitam. Ishvara, or the Supreme, is not apart from the self, because Bhagavan has clearly given the lakshana as Kevalam Brahmamatram, Kevalam Brahmamatram. So, if we perceive, how does this impact our sadhana? As we were being told by Bhagavan in the meditations in the first half of today's satsang also, if we see the phenomena, then that is not Kevalam. There is the phenomena and there is I. There is the experienced and there is the experiencer. So we can understand that this is not the truth. This is not the truth of the self. Because in that there is only the Brahman. Brahman alone shines as I. Brahman alone is. Okay, so then Muni says, so there is no separate Ishvara either. It is the Ishvara, it is the Supreme, it is all-encompassing. So when we recognize an Ishvara, when we turn to Bhagavan as the Ishvara, which he is, then we also must remember that he is the all-pervading Brahma Tattva, the Kevalam Brahmamatram alone has manifested. It is appearing as if manifest as this Ishvara whom we call Bhagavan. So it is actually not apart from that. It is that very self. So we can turn to Bhagavan as the Ishvara, or we can turn to Bhagavan as the very self which he is. And Bhagavan often tells us that the self, Ishvara and Guru are not apart from each other. So that's what they are. That is, there is only the self. They are indivisible. That's what the Muni points out over here. For us to understand that the importance of Ishvara, the importance of Guru lies in the fact that they are the self. That is their glory. That is their magnitude. That alone is. So we have to turn towards that. And how is this revealing itself? Uktam chapi aparokshatvam, says Muni. Aparoksha jnana. There is that which is called paroksha jnana and that which is called aparoksha jnana. Aparoksha is direct. Direct, absolutely direct. It is not indirect. It is direct. Sakshat. That word sakshat indicates the aparoksha jnana, says Muni over here. Sakshat. What are our normal experiences? What all that seen object has to image, register eyes. Okay. Next, what I see, sending one signal, saying, sending an image. Now, the hearing something, they are sending, how in, call them our direct, or any other, it does not, is a symbol. It is a symbol of, it is a symbol. Speaking answers